parent, staff, or community member would like to know what was discussed. If you do not wish to be recorded, please let us know at this time. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Bonnie. I will call this meeting to order tonight at 6 p.m. If you're able, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. I would like to start our meeting today with board recognition. And as soon as I scroll down to the board recognition, board, we're going to start with board comments on recognition. So if you wouldn't mind, diving into that.
One of my favorite things to recognize, I love when we get to see a real life education in action. And we had students in Ms. Bannon's and Mr. Herkind's consumer math classes at Ording High School recently brought real-world financial concepts to life through an engaging insurance project. Students designed and built dragster vehicles while managing a budget, incorporating safety features, and calculating insurance premiums based on risk factors and coverage options. During race day, students experienced the realities of insurance firsthand. Filing claims and paying deductibles for crashes, damage, or property impacts. The creative project gave students valuable practical insight into financial literacy, risk management, and the importance of insurance planning.
Unfortunate.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Oh, this month, students across the district participated in state assessments demonstrating perseverance and commitment as they work to show what they know. We want to recognize our staff for the thoughtful preparation, encouragement, and support they provide through testing season, and thank our students for giving their best effort and approaching the challenge with focus and determination. And I know firsthand that some of the paras actually go one-on-one and sit there in a quiet room with the kids who need accommodations, and they make sure that that happens. So I'm really appreciative of that.
That's great. That's great.
Well, I'll share earlier this month, 5th grade students from Ptarmigan Ridge and Ording Elementary had the opportunity to attend camp, which they always look forward to that. They spent a week exploring nature, building friendships, learning new skills, and creating lasting memories. Through hands-on activities, team building challenges, and outdoor adventures, students experienced meaningful learning beyond the classroom. A heartfelt thank you to our dedicated staff, high school counselors, and volunteers who made this incredible experience possible. It's very fun. I've been to that before, and it's a blast. So much fun.
I want to say a shout out to the band last night. We had our high school band concert last night, and we had the concert band, wind, and then jazz band. It was awesome last night to watch and see the dedication that they put in, our musicians that put into this, and it was awesome. So it was great. I know Ed was there, so yeah.
Very cool.
Very cool.
We also recently had the Ording School District's Community Cultural Unity Fair. Unfortunately, I had to miss it this year, but I've been in years previous. It's getting bigger and better every year. They held that at the Ording Middle School, and it celebrated the diverse cultures that make up our school community through food, art, performances, and shared experiences. Thank you to the staff, students, and families who helped create such a welcoming and impactful evening of learning, connection, and celebration.
Very cool. Come on in. I'll wrap it up with, at the end of April, OMS proudly welcomed middle schools from across the region for the Middle School Band Large Group Festival. The event showcased the talent, dedication, and hard work of student musicians while creating an opportunity for collaboration and performances. Thank you to our students, music staff, and event volunteers who helped make this a successful and memorable experience. Yeah, we're very cool. All right. Now, I'd like to turn it over to our May Agency Superstars. All right, for Ording Elementary School, would Doug Favors please come to the podium here in front of us? Come on up. Hi. Please come on. All right, that's awesome. So Doug, you were nominated by Ms. Green. She wrote, Doug comes to class prepared each day and consistently follows expectations. You demonstrate strong agency by taking ownership of your learning, staying organized, managing your responsibilities, and completing your work on time. Not only do you take ownership over your learning, but you're also always helpful to others, and you remind students of what is expected. Doug, you're performing at or above grade level in every area of your iReady assessments, and you consistently produce thoughtful and high-quality work. So that's awesome, and we're excited to be able to recognize you tonight for that effort. Yes. Do you want to share any comments?
I only thought that I was above grade level for reading.
Okay.
So yeah, I just now learned that I'm above grade level for like all of those subjects.
How does that make you feel?
Kind of impressed with myself. So,
That's awesome.
I have ADHD and like sometimes if I don't have my meds, it's like very hard to focus.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, I still get most of my work done.
That's
So yeah.
That's awesome. Well, congratulations. Great job. We're very proud of you.
Good job. Good job.
Everybody at the same time.
Yeah.
So, Doug, you just stand right over to the side. When we have recognized everybody will have a certificate and some treats, and we'll do a group photo. So if you can just please be patient there for a little bit
Yeah,
while you
you're welcome
recognize
to
a few
have
more
a seat.
people.
Have a seat on that big step.
There you go.
There you go.
Awesome. All right. So for Ording Elementary School staff agency superstar, I'd like to invite Christine Prindle to the podium. Christine, I have both Christine and Christina. Do you have a preference?
Christina.
Christina, thank you. All right, Christina Brindle was nominated by Miss Jefferson and Miss Jessica. They wrote, Christina is truly a cornerstone of the OES community. She consistently supports students with dedication, compassion, and professionalism. Her warmth helps students feel safe, valued, and understood, and they know they can trust her to support both their well-being and their success. She has a remarkable ability to assist students through emotional challenges and often stepping in at critical moments so that learning can continue uninterrupted in the classroom. Her work not only supports individual students but also strengthens the entire school environment. Each day she shows an unwavering commitment to both students and staff. Our school community is stronger because of her contributions, and we are deeply grateful for the impact she makes. Wow.
Yeah, that's
Those are some powerful words.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for your work. All right. At Ptarmigan Ridge Elementary School, I'd like to invite Aurelia? Aurelia. I love that. It's a beautiful name.
Yeah, it is.
So Aurelia Worth. Aurelia, I want to say that right. Does that sound okay, Aurelia?
Yes.
Okay. You were selected for this month's PTR Agency Superstar for setting personal goals based on feedback from both the teacher and the rubric. Does that sound familiar?
Yes.
Okay, good. Aurelia will look at her rubrics and set individual goals based on where she scores without prompting from the teacher. She also seeks feedback in order to continue to grow in her learning. That sounds awesome.
Good job.
Great job.
Good job.
Can you tell us about a goal that you have coming up or one that you're working on?
Getting my math fluency all correct.
Oh, nice. That's an important one. Great job, Aurelia.
Nice job.
You want to join our other superstars and we'll do a picture in just a minute. Okay. All right, from our PTR staff, I'd like to invite Rebecca Bunker to the podium. So Rebecca was selected for this month's PTR Agency Superstar for co-organizing our first invention convention, which was one of my favorite activities this year. I'm so glad that happened. For students based on her passion for science. So this was an amazing event for students to develop their own science invention to solve a real-world problem. I hope this continues every year. I'm sure it was a ton of work.
We love doing it. We're calling it the first annual, so.
Oh, perfect.
It's gonna continue.
Very good. Well, we want to thank you for being one of our agency superstars and taking the lead on such a cool event program. Awesome experience for the students. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. At the Ording Middle School, or from the Ording Middle School, I'd like to invite Raja Singha. Did I say your name correctly? You guys got some tricky names for me tonight.
Roger, see that.
Raja Sina.
Yeah, Rogers.
Raja Sina. Okay. Raja, do you go by Raja or the whole Raja Singha?
I go by Raj.
You go by Raj. Okay. Raj, would you say your last name for me?
Gogol Manigani.
Okay. You did a fantastic job. I'm going to leave with that. So Raj was nominated for this month's OMS Agency Superstar because in the first semester alone, he spent almost 45 hours on iReady lessons. That's a lot.
Yeah.
And you passed, this is even more, 147 lessons in reading and 39 lessons in math.
Wow.
That is
Awesome.
impressive. Why did you do that?
To improve on my skills,
Okay,
math and reading.
math and reading, and do you feel like that happened?
Yeah.
Nice, that's a big commitment. What do you have planned for second semester?
I'm trying to reach 100 lessons in math.
Wow,
Right now I have 80 lessons, I think.
you're almost there. That's fantastic, congratulations.
Thank you.
It's nice to be able to recognize you tonight for being a superstar.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice job.
All right. Is Emily from the middle school here? Emily, please
Yes,
come on
she
up.
is.
And I don't know if I've met you yet, so Niederly?
Neaterly, yeah.
Niederly.
Yeah.
Good. Awesome. Emily was nominated at OMS for being an agency superstar because she has seen that students were struggling with math, and alongside staff member Jeff Scott, she came up with the idea for an after-school math club support group.
Wow.
That's awesome and hugely valuable to our students and our families. I have to mention the families too. I spent many hours trying to help my kids with the math that's done differently now than it was when I was a kid. So, Emily, thank you so much for having that idea and bringing it forward and making it happen at OMS.
I was actually in the club for a few minutes twice because I'm JJ's Nana. and-
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so, and I was really impressed. You have high school students that come over?
So I also think that the nomination, like, I partnered with the National Honor Society from the high school, so I have the high school students coming over,
Nice.
which that connection with the kids
Yes.
is 10 million
Yes.
times more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
That's
Yeah.
why I wanted to bring it up because
Yeah,
I
I
was
wanted that,
really, I
yes.
was really impressed. One, it gives the kids some kind of connection for when they do move over there, but also, you know, there's nothing like a little socialization to improve learning. And thank you so much for doing that. Thank you. It's
I love
very
it.
well attended.
Yeah.
How often do the kids meet?
We're doing once a week on Wednesdays.
Nice. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Great idea.
And then the plan is next year to implement a family math night once in a while.
Oh,
Well, that would be awesome.
Yeah,
I love that.
yeah, just brought that idea to the table.
Maybe we'll see you again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome.
All right, our OHS student tonight, who is a agency superstar, is Abigail Myers and Emma Utterback. Good evening, ladies. Abby and Emma have demonstrated the vision for agency as a pair by owning the learning of new songs in the absence of their choir teacher. Supporting mastery of these songs by making sure students are practicing outside of the school day, making sure belonging for our concert choir students was happening by advocating for the needs of this group of students related to our ensemble competition season, and building their self-efficacy by performing in one of the most incredible choir concerts at OHS on March 25th. Abby and Emma are true representatives of what it means to be a Cardinal, and we are grateful for their leadership and resilience. Wow, well done, ladies. Yes,
thank you.
Well done. Very cool. Yep.
Wait a second, Miss Abby.
Wait a second.
Sorry, although I didn't have you in class, but Miss Abby was in my second grade class, and I've known her since she was a little girl, and I have to tell you, she is definitely a superstar. She has so much perseverance and so much grit, and the thing that I love about her is that even if something is tough, you couldn't tell that because Abby is always this lovely, graceful person who just makes you feel blessed to be around her. So,
And then we have Emma.
yeah, thank you.
Emma steps up and she does leadership. She has leadership qualities, but she's quiet about it. She's not very boisterous, but she just steps up when they need her to. And this doesn't surprise me
Yeah.
that you did this, because you always rise to that they need help, and Emma's right there to help them. So nice job. Thank you.
And I'm sure that your teacher would be very, very proud.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, for sure. Yes. All right. We're going to invite all of you superstars to our Wall of Fame for a group photo. And the key is for all of us to squish together and try to get in front of the wall.
Yeah, we're gonna switch. All right.
That's a layer. There we go.
He's hiding. Hold it for the picture. The whole life.
He'll be fine. I see him.
But I'm not gonna I still have you.
Yeah, I got it. You got it right here.
Maybe we could layer a little bit.
There you go.
I was gonna say, I'm laughing because I know it's sorry. And then everybody turn sideways. Sideways. Yeah, so shift a little bit. There we go. Okay, we ready? Oh, yeah, we're ready. I know.
Look at all the cameras. Like, look at your eyes. You got it.
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3.
Nice job, everybody.
Nice job.
I think that's what I heard.
Where's everybody going?
Thank you.
All the fun stuff.
Thank you so much for coming, families and friends. Thank you for supporting your students.
And thanks for coming, Kyle.
Thank you.
You don't even have to dismiss them.
I don't.
They just know.
And we're out.
I was like, the one I remembered. I'm like congratulating myself on my way to my chair. I remember it.
I think Cliff gives him a head up. You know you can leave.
Yeah, bye, Cliff.
Oh, goodness.
You're holding that table down, you can't move, right?
Oh, that was fun.
But it's wonderful that they all come.
Yes.
Oh, it's awesome.
I think
All the families that come, that's so awesome.
Grandparents.
I wouldn't.
I love it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great.
It's such a great way to start a meeting.
I know, I love that.
I love that.
I'm so glad we started doing that.
Yeah, so many things to celebrate. All right, I understand from Bonnie, you may be surprised to know by the absence of people that there are no commenters.
But they love their children.
Yeah. All right. Superintendent, I will turn it over to you.
Thank you, board. A lot of highlights since the last time we were together. The highlight of this week, we have announced our new principal of Ording Elementary School, Miss Allison LaRosa Flick. She spent the morning meet and greeting staff today. One of the cutest things I've seen in a minute. Alex and Precious interviewed our top 2 candidates publicly. We had 73 people provide community input. Director Fisher was there. They did a phenomenal job. It was truly warming to have our kids involved and our community and staff as well. So we put that announcement out, and we're currently pursuing our next assistant principal candidate, and I'll provide an update for you next week about how that's going as soon as we get some more information. Hot off the press also at Ording Elementary School, Dubs, the mascot of the University of Washington, the most prestigious university in the state of Washington, is visiting Ording Elementary School in a couple of weeks. June 6th at the Cougar Pride Assembly, Dubs will be there to hype our students up as they engage for the second summer in the Husky Summer Reading Program. If you are around 12:30, here at Central Office, Dubs will be making a guest appearance before we walk him over to the elementary school. Those old timers on the screen, that's myself and fraternity brothers at the national championship a couple years ago where we ran into Dubs. What you don't know, one of my fraternity brothers, Brent, he's Dubs' owner and caretaker. So we have a special inside track, which is, you got to pull your cards every now and then.
That's right.
So we're excited about that. Board retreat. Thank you for a wonderful day spent in thoughtful reflection. We just wanted to name publicly that you as a board have moved to extend the strategic plan from 2025 through 2028. Your feedback around the most important priorities and the first two goals was very valuable. What I've heard from many of you is that you like the opportunity to get collective feedback on the other two goals so we can begin to think about priority measures and what we might elevate over the next couple years. So thank you for your time. It was fun to unveil plans and designs that have involved staff and community and student feedback for both the elementary school and the high school. That feedback is coming back and reshaping the designs based on what's resonating with folks. So sometime in the not too distant future, you'll get to see what that update looks like as well. Culture Unity Fair was a hit. Grateful for our Puyallup tribal partners for being there and sharing in song and spirit. One of the longest lines, again, the Satayacum family. We have their students and family that work for us. Grandma made fry bread. That was the longest line by far. That disappeared so fast. Now, the last few years I've been in watching performances, I knew this time to be in the cafeteria. We handed out bunches of 5 tickets to everybody that came. We handed over 250 bunches out, so we're able to serve over 1,200 meals to students in the local community. It was a huge highlight, and we had art projects as well, very engaging, and we had representation from each of our 4 schools. High school culinary students hit it out of the park. Amazing food samples from all across the world. It was a wonderful night. On the downside, if you haven't seen Washington State Legislature math, I will educate you. For next year, we were allocated an additional $47.06 per student. If you multiply that, the 6 cents, it's really not helping. It's really not helping. If you multiply the 2,800 students times our funding increase, we're getting a whopping $131,768 in material and supply money. Since that happened, we found out our insurance bill, the very first bill, did not go up 18%. It's up over 50%, 53.19%. Our insurance bill alone is going up $480,000. So with the very first bill of the year, we're already in a net deficit. And what you can predict is if that's what we're seeing on that bill, all of our mental health care partners, our commodity suppliers, our private contractors, they will have to pass on goods as well. So you can imagine that deficit that we've been experiencing the last few years will continue to grow. So we have some strong advocacy work to do heading into the next legislative session to tell that story. Where does that money come from? It comes out of programs and supports that directly impact kids. So there's no way around those further gaps widening, not touching K-12. It means we have to spend more K-12 money on funding things that the legislature should be funding. So we have some fighting to do, but wanted to make sure you knew and public knows what's happening because we have to keep telling that message and sounding the alarm. Funding priorities, despite those funding challenges, there are some things that we are going to recommend. We pulled this out of your work session in May, and we said we'll share it publicly at the regular board meeting. So here's some things you can expect. We have seen excellent movement and growth in core. I think you're going to be very pleased when we publicly release spring iReady data. Probably by June we can give a forecast. And early SBA, I was at OES today, many teachers are very excited about the growth they're seeing in their kids. So we think we'll continue to see growth, but that doesn't solve the puzzle all by itself. So we definitely see investment in intervention and support heading into next year. Specifically, mathematics and reading comprehension are 2 areas. Behavior is a strong concern amongst family, staff, and students. So supporting in screeners and supports we think is a strong need for us. And continued support around social emotional learning. You've seen and heard as a board the power of when that works and when it's in place. So we don't want to let up on that. We want to continue that support. OHS stadium lights. We've heard from our officials association that the LED lights we have are honestly too dark. And it's to the point if we don't make a move, we might be prohibited from play in town. Well, Friday night lights in Bethel doesn't sound as good as Ording Friday night lights or Thursday in Ording. So we're going to make an investment in redoing those lights so it's lighter and playable. The intervention and support, even though that we see flat investment with title funds, federal funds, we still think we can maintain in that, but we're going to have to provide a little bit more levy dollars to continue that. But that's okay, our community supported that, and that's what they asked for. And then Aaron will be bringing a proposal for you for core curriculum investment in social studies as well as science. So you'll see that coming up to you in future board meetings, June or July. Huge celebration, Coach Basket, Coach Bruce named Coach of the Year and Assistant Coach of the Year by the National Football Foundation. Pierce County chapter celebrated our 2 coaches recently, and our students Tanner and Noah were recognized for their not only scholarship, but for their athletic performance on the field. So kudos to all of those that were down and recognized recently. I didn't have pictures because this was going on when we ran the last meeting, but the Lahar was very successful. Thank you to Executive Director Fries, who would say, I really didn't do anything, Bonnie made it all happen. So by default, thank you Bonnie and Cliff, via Bonnie, for pulling that off. It was hugely successful. All of our students made it down. We love our partnership with our emergency responders. That was a multi-agency drill, 26 in all, between schools and emergency partners. We just don't see us doing the full drill every year. So it's probably on and off again for the foreseeable future because it's so well ingrained, like there's really no reason to do the full drill every year. But we'll have a modified drill next year. Bond Oversight Committee, a couple of you might want to speak to this. We've had 3 meetings thus far. We've developed norms, purpose, operating procedures. We have 12 strong community members that mostly are Ording residents, but some live outside the city parameter. Within those 3 meetings, we've discussed design, project, scope, what's been approved by the taxpayers. They had a little bit of a introduction to Trevor Carlson and funding and tax rates even by this point. And what I'm showing you is one of, not the, but one potential example of what the new high school career technical education wing could look like. So we've shared some preliminary design work to get their feedback. Director Fisher, Director Thibodeau, anything to add? Wanted to do an update since we've met a few times so far.
Go ahead.
I think the community members that we have been great, good, really good input from them, very good involvement, like they're in it 100%. So, and they've had some really good recommendations and thoughts, and which has been so helpful to all of us. And I think the architect as well, I think that they came up with some really good ideas. So having this oversight committee, I think, is really positive, and it's very helpful.
Yeah, I would add, I would just again appreciate the contributions from our partners in these projects. Liz, Matt, our architect, Skanska has been there, Trevor provided the financial overview last meeting, and then as Levy said, our committee members come from a real diverse backgrounds and professions, and some with kids and grandkids and no kids in the district, and so it's made for fantastic conversation, and there's a lot to take in on these projects. So even though we're still early on, we're very happy with how the committee's working so far.
On a related note, Liz, Cliff, and myself presented to City Council yesterday. We reiterated your interest around small labor, local labor, student involvement, community involvement, and that I think resonated with council. We've talked about when you were looking for a partner and a builder of how we can prioritize and support local dollars, staying local as best as we can. So Cliff foreshadowed a little bit about what Skanska related to the passport program, reiterated that they're signatories to 5 labor unions, and we're really expecting a lot of workers that live and pay taxes locally will be involved in this project. So we definitely want to maintain that ongoing partnership. We're appreciative of our mayor and administrator being at your retreat, being connected, and that's something that we intend to maintain, that ongoing community connection and partnership as as we move from design to permit to actually coming out of a ground and digging dirt next summer. Fifth grade camp, you heard a little bit about that. I wanted to put some pictures into the report. If you ever doubted the impact of just getting out of the schoolhouse and that learning and agency can continue outside of school just as much as in school, come see camp. It was phenomenal. We were very appreciative of the 40 or 50 or so parents that came out each of those weeks and broke bread with our students and experienced camp life. Huge shout out to our PTA. They raised tens of thousands of dollars to help make a field trip for every elementary student possible and help make camp possible. So one of the things we're going to talk about heading into next year is how do we maintain support for that and other programs. They're going to have some transition in their leadership, and none of us want to see that amazing work fall down a little bit. We did celebrate Certificated Staff Appreciation Week. If you haven't seen it, we have our kids and our staff interviewed from each of our 4 schools. Strong traction and support for our certificated employees. And beyond the videos, last Friday, thank you to those of you that experienced the barbecue and helped to serve. We had a wonderful all-staff appreciation barbecue last Friday. So we served hundreds and hundreds of pounds of chicken and ribs, barbecue baked beans. And even though the rain didn't subside, it didn't dampen the spirits. People came out in droves. And also thank you to our labor partners for providing scoops, ice cream, and drinks for everybody as well. It really helps to make that a warm, welcoming as part of our positive school culture and climate. And I think that wraps up my report. Excited again to share probably in June some sneak peek Spring iReady data and some preliminary SBA data if we have it.
And the food was delicious.
Yeah, it was.
was great.
Yes.
Happy to answer any questions you may have.
As you were presenting, I had a question, then we can talk about it offline. I'm just curious if there's anything we can do to reduce the insurance.
Yes and no. Legislatively, we have to honestly take on the Trial Lawyers Association. The exorbitant settlements across the state are significantly contributing to the rate increase. Jury settlements are insanely high. And even pre-trial settlements are high because people don't want to settle knowing that the trial is going to cost us a lot of money. So I think there's definitely advocacy work that can go to help reduce the rates. Internally, we always evaluate with Marcy and with Cliff, what's our risk contributing? Do we have casualty loss from bus wrecks, slips, trips, falls, errors and omissions? So what's internally leading to that rate increase? And they slightly increase or decrease based on a risk factor. Marcy shared that with Cliff and I, and we're analyzing, and we'll look with Carrie and internally, like, is there what we can do to mitigate risk slightly? But the slight might be a $20,000 variance, the $500,000 really coming from the secondary insurance market. People don't want to touch reinsuring our state because the settlements are just so astronomically high. So by being in a pool, that's part of what's happening. Like, we paid more out than we received benefit this year. We hope the same is true next year, but what's happening across the pool in the market is definitely hitting us. So no matter what we do to curb, it won't fully mitigate that bill.
Do we have to maintain a part of the pool?
You do not have to be part of that pool. We would strongly encourage the district to have insurance.
Yes.
However, there are other options where to go. Part of our conversation is risk return, right? So is there a better gig out there that might make more sense? We don't see it yet.
Okay.
But part of what we think is there's an advocacy solution legislative-wise, because we expect that cost to be paid by the legislature, and they make the law. So if you don't like how that's going, and if you don't want to fund it, maybe they can make some changes that mitigate exposure and risk on their end. But on our end, we would ask, that's basic ed, you should be funding that, right? It shouldn't come out of teachers and professional support.
Right.
So a few things at risk, but we think we can, as long as we're controlling our risk factor, we can slightly manipulate that down, but only slightly.
Slightly, yeah.
Okay. Any other questions on the report? Nope. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Carly Ann Dallas, student rep reports. Who's starting tonight?
Me. Guys, it's really hot here.
Super
I've
high.
looked over a couple times, I'm thinking about you in that suit. I'm trying to like figure out how Mr. Freeze's doing it.
I grew up in Yakima, we worked in orchards in the sunny heat. We didn't have AC when we were kids, like, we're okay.
All right, well, yeah, shout out to you, I couldn't do it. It's like really bad. All right, well, it's the end of May, so for seniors, you know, it's starting to get pretty stressful. Graduation's coming up. We have field day coming up on June 5th, and the awards night for seniors is the 29th. Mr. Carlson is going on, I think he's going to like this committee or presentations with a bunch of principals. Are you familiar with this?
Probably the South Puget Sound League, I think, but we'll see what you say.
Which service phrase?
It's AWSP.
AWSP. Awesome.
The yearly conference.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that, with all the principals. And he wanted to get some student feedback about what's the importance of student leadership and elevating student voice. So he interviewed a group of students that ran our SBSL sportsmanship conference. He took some students from ASB, and then he took some students from the Principals Advisory Council, and he just had a little session interviewing them, asking them some questions, and getting some feedback Brittany can put together this video and do a whole presentation about it, and kind of just, not, in his words, not tell people what to do, but kind of just give them an insight on, what goes on in ordering and having that feedback. So I thought that was really, really cool.
And then the interviewing that we did was at the high school actually, and we wanted to talk a little bit more specifically about 13-year seniors. Specifically did you notice, noticing what have you done, what would you have done differently from you starting here to you ending here? What things have changed? I don't know, kind of just open conversation, whatever you want to talk about your experience here. What I made a noticing of every person I talked to, they're talking about the spirit aspect of school, like engagement in spirit days and assemblies and doing the fun stuff. One of the students were talking about how she can see a defined split between people who want to get involved and who don't want to try, and it takes a toll on events for funds for others because it's not unified, and hoping to figure out a way to tend to everyone and figure out a way, because that's something that stayed consistent from her middle school years to her senior, her high school years. And then while another student was talking about how middle school, they thought that participation was lower than how it is in high school because, I don't know, middle schoolers are awkward and kind of figuring it out and don't want to embarrass themselves or do other things like that. And people find themselves more in high school, so it's that shift of, I want to be more involved. But the biggest thing that I think I took away from it was just, everyone is so focused on recognizing other students' engagement and spirit that happens in the school and the fun that happens in our school. And I didn't really think about that because I'm I always think bigger picture because of the conversations that we have and the strategic plan and everything and whole child and all the other stuff. And so I don't necessarily think I'm going to school and I'm noticing that somebody's dressed up for Spirit Day and I think that's really fun, or somebody's getting interviewed for Spirit Day and I think that's really fun. I don't know. So it was really cool to me that is what our other students are engaging in, noticing that's how they're gauging whether or not things are successful or not. Because how happy are the students at your school? How much are they engaging in the stuff that you're providing them at school, and how much fun are they having at school is what they're gauging it off of, rather than I said how have things academically changed, and they didn't even try to answer. They're man, don't care about academics. Let me tell you about the one time we had Anna Sandler's Day, and it was the best thing ever. It's really clear to see what is important to students. And I thought that was really cool. And then same thing for me, I guess before I even got in this position, from my kindergarten year to now, like, or to before I got, as a student board rep, I guess I didn't think about it either. I didn't think bigger picture. I definitely thought, is this fun or not? Is this worth engaging in? Do I see other students having fun? Like, not even just assembly-wise or spirit day-wise or other things like that. Like in class, are they laughing in that corner? Should I engage in that corner? Or like, I knew what classes were fun and what classes I wanted to go to because they were socially more fun. They had my friends. They had people that were laughing. They had people that, I know that classwork is fun because we make it fun. So I don't know, I was like, whoa, everything is kind of just about whether or not people are actually enjoying themselves, not necessarily like having just that safe space, but also just fully being comfortable having fun. Like they just want to have fun. Because then they're all kids. I forget that we're all just kids. I'm just a kid. And I forget about that.
Adults like to have fun at work too, you know? Like, it does make a difference when you can go to a job and you actually enjoy it because the people that you work with or that you engage with every time are fun. Like, they want to smile and have a good time, right? Sure, there's times when business is business and you get serious and you got to get what's done, what needs to be done, right? But it's really nice if you can have some fun in the meantime, right? And same thing with school. School shouldn't be a drag. It shouldn't be where you go, I gotta go to school today, but if there's some kind of a fun thing that will encourage you to go, you're gonna want to go, right? You're gonna want to be engaged in that. So it is important.
I think right now is the season is like everyone is dragging because it's like
Oh,
so
it's
close.
Oh, yeah.
And I will admit,
Yeah.
I am dragging. I'm so close.
Senioritis.
Yeah, I'm so close to being done, and it's just like it's the little things that make it fun for me. Like today, we had an assembly, and we never have we've had a club designated assembly, not like a regular pep assembly. We had a club designated pep assembly because we wanted to emphasize a lot more on spotlighting our clubs rather than just our sports. Because every year or every season we have a club or a sport recap assembly and like a pep assembly that we talk about all of our sports and all of our stuff. But it was really cool because we had our jazz band perform, and we had clubs coordinating games, and we had clubs sharing what they did and figuring out that we're sending middle schoolers to nationals. Didn't know that was happening, but that's really impressive and really cool. And that's like, I thought that was so much fun to me, and I could just like see it. But also I could tell that everyone's tired because the way that everyone was talking all the time, and I was emceeing, and I don't know, I feel really bad. I've been thinking about it all day, but it was like, guys, it's so disrespectful for talking to everybody else, blah, blah, blah. And then I said chitter chatter, apparently. I don't remember what I said. And I don't know if Dallas can say anything if I was being crazy or not. I don't remember. I just know that I was.
But every teacher has done that.
We can relate.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was getting frustrated.
I'm glad you noticed the fun, and I'm glad the students dwelled on that. Those are the memories that'll last. Way more than the math test, way more than an already reading assignment. The fun is the connection and the relationships, and we do have that in the business world too, but there's nothing like it is in school, so.
Yeah. I just thought it was so strange that that's how they were gauging whether it was successful or not.
Yeah.
Like, not, I used to be a bad student and now I'm a good student because I get all good grades. It was, I had fun.
Yeah.
And so that I was successful. My school career, my school life from kindergarten to now, I had fun, so it was successful.
Yeah.
That's I like. I don't know.
I think about what has to be in place for someone to have fun. They have to be seen and heard and all of those values that we talk about. Some agency to have a good time, pick the funny thing. That's what I see. So if they're remembering those things, I'm like, okay, it was all right. 13 years, they're good. That's cool.
Yeah.
I bet you if you go back and talk to kids that have graduated years Say, what do you remember about school? I bet you they pick out something fun, not,
Yeah.
I passed my math test when I was, right? I don't remember that, but they remember something fun, like, oh, that one assembly that we had, or,
One
you
time
know.
Carly yelled at us for.
Yeah. Chitter-chattering.
It wasn't just one time I had to say something. I said something like 3 times, I think. I was so embarrassed with myself.
And then you're gonna graduate, and that's gonna be like your parting memory, so you'll have to.
I was like, yell at
Welcome
everyone.
to adulthood.
Precursors. I love it. Good stuff, you guys. Thank you.
It's reality.
I hope Matt shares his video. I'd like to see that.
Yeah, I would
I want to see it too.
Since
I'm
we're
in that
both
video.
it, so.
I
Yeah.
really hope I see it before.
Just elaborating, Ording has 2 presentations at the AWSP WASA statewide conference. Dr. Lee and Dr. Bloomberg are doing a shared conference about how do you actually take student feedback and use AI to give clear, targeted feedback aligned to core competencies. And Matt and team are going to do a presentation as discussed about elevating student voice. Part of what Carly Dallas and I met with Dr. Paul and Dr. Lee is next year, which Carly got roped into as a freshman at UW, invited back, and you can talk about the opportunity, but we're looking to do a 90-minute presentation at this fall's WASDA conference in Spokane. So we put Dallas's name as lead presenter. We collaborated, and we have a proposal that we're in the draft stage, but we'll submit by the end of next week. Not sure if you want to talk about the opportunity, but we want to continue to elevate the great work that's happening in our system at the statewide level. And if we can, I'd love to see a crack at the national stage next year at some point too.
Super cool.
Why not us?
No pressure.
It's like, wait, what?
No, I'm prepared.
I'm prepared.
Cool. That's exciting. Anything else? All good?
Thank you.
All right, we'll switch gears to our facilities update, presented by Liz.
It's actually a good segue, I think, because hopefully some of the capital projects, new buildings are going to support the fund. New spaces, I think facilities, daylighting, and nooks and crannies, that's what we're doing for sure to try to support some of those hangout spaces very much. I have a short update, so feel free to ask questions at the end or interrupt me for sure. For the elementary school, our biggest milestone was the schematic design package that was just issued about 3 weeks ago. We do 2 things. I don't know if you remember, we talked about this with Matt early on. 2 things with that package. First is we take kind of just the design pencils down. It's a good time to have everything in one place in one set of documents. And then we review it internally with the design team, look at also admin and some other spaces and administrators to see what other things that maybe we didn't quite get right. Or also, this is usually a milestone that we're still a little square footage, a little heavy, right? Usually after a schematic design package, so we kind of tighten up the building. So that's happening at the same time as the pricing exercise. So Skanska and our pricing consultant through NAC is pricing it at the same time. We've completed that process, and then we go through a reconciliation process. They each look at even square yards and make sure the quantities were similar and their unit prices are similar in that estimating process. Then we take that, and then generally there's reconciliation that's done, and then we take it with a value engineering kind of hat on our head as well. And so we look at ways to save some money, because generally that's usually a budget that we are exceeding a little bit at this time. So we've taken some assumptions and made sure that we've made the clarifications to get the project back into budget. It's a normal process with our schematic design process. Normal period that we have right now, we have probably another week and a half, 2 weeks. We'll probably come back to the board in July with a summary of all the findings. Any questions on that? Okay. The owner consultants, we had the surveyor back out there to delineate the bridge. We're doing a couple small things, and we're wrapping up the owner consultants. We are adding in a peer consultant, and so that design is going to be starting as well. So it's kind of exciting because we get into that peer foundation work. As Ed mentioned, we've had a good meeting with the city council, and we're having bi-monthly, 2 times a month meetings with the city. So we're targeting 2 processes to go in for permit. The first one, site plan review. I did this last week. It's now moved up to July, so it's July 24th is the application date that NAC and I just came up with. It's kind of new information. And then the architectural design review is going to go probably in July as well. The user group meetings, we're talking with the ongoing staff about details down to cabinetry as we move into design development. And then we'll look at a couple exterior images. These are the 3 images that NAC brought to us. I think that some of the people on the board have seen these images. So it's just kind of a quick overview of what they presented. They did a great job to give a couple of options, and great feedback from multiple people on multiple committees. This is what also City Council saw as a highlight of just some ideas. And then NAC's office is coming back to the district with it being kind of a parts and piece of all the layouts and all the exterior elevations. Moving on to the CTE edition, it's about 3 weeks behind the elementary school, but we just issued our schematic design package last Friday, so that then I see NAC's, a lot of their office went on vacation for a long weekend this weekend. My point is they've worked really hard to put 2 packages out. So we're now pricing that, Scan says similar, and NAC's cost estimator, Andy's pricing at the same time, so we haven't started the reconciliation process yet. I just sent out the survey. It was completed at the entire campus of the high school. That's exciting, and the geotech borings were done. And then having started design development, we're starting user group meetings as well. So we're moving on to specific things on cabinetry and things like that as we move into design development. Ed mentioned the bond oversight committee, which was exciting. And that's some exterior design options that NAC came up with on the street side. I think it showed the quad side, I'll call it the quad side, the back side that faces internally on campus, and this is the facade off of 162. I think that's all I had.
Could you speak just a little bit about value engineering? So for the board and primarily community's benefit, how do we ensure that we are balancing durability, longevity with affordability and cost consciousness, from a taxpayer perspective?
Yeah, value engineering is not that you're skimping on maintenance or anything like that in the long-term future. It's really looking at systems in much more detail now that we have a cost estimate similar to a mechanical system. Generally, when we have information from a designer or a mechanical engineer, they price it through other projects that they've done in the last year. Well, with a new cost estimate, that comes from a contractor, then they really look at that system and can provide an accurate price so that we can decide between 2 equal production mechanical systems that have the same longevity, but are cost different. And so, so that's how we choose between 2 systems. So that's a good example of you're not skimping on a maintenance or long-term issues. You're just really choosing between 2 different systems.
And I will say, once Executive Director Freese realized how much a door cost, he's doing his own value engineering as well. And Liz is telling him you can't build a school with just 1 door. So Cliff is working really hard with our architect and builder to make sure that promises made will be promises kept, and they're building a really solid relationship. So that process is going very well. Because we know it's critically important for future projects as well as this one that what we present to the community we're able to deliver. And we're on track.
Yeah. And if you really think about it, a year from now we'll be breaking ground at the new elementary school.
That's great.
So it's a good, good vision that the board had for sure to think that you're that close right now.
A year from now. And then you mentioned, and forgive me, I can't remember which meeting it was, about the time in the ground. It'll be a long time before the community. So it'll be a year before we get into the ground, and then a long time in the ground before we get above.
That is true, especially with some of the site work components that will be starting next April. I did just have a call with Skanska, and they're moving fast. Every month that goes is an escalation component that we can save money. So once the pilings go in, they're telling me that's 10 weeks, which seems like a long time. But the layout of the star of the elementary school sequences very well. And so what they're going to do is treat it in 4 quadrants. So they're finish one component of it, of the pilings, move on, and essentially sequencing to the next section. So I think overall this one might seem like it's quicker just because they're moving on to that other portion of the star. But generally the pilings will take 10 weeks.
Okay. Great, thank you.
But once they go vertical, I was just talking to Skanska about steel erection, that takes about 9 weeks. So once you go vertical, that actually goes pretty fast when you really think about that. Yeah, it's exciting.
It's exciting, yes.
Yes.
So exciting, so exciting.
Great question.
Board, any other questions for Liz?
No? Great. Thank you.
Thanks,
We're good,
Liz.
Thank you.
All right. Financial report for March 2026. Didn't see any questions come through for that. Nope, so we're all good. All good. Thank you, Director Bannon. And now employee engagement survey presented by Carrie Joy.
Good evening.
Hello.
Thank you for this opportunity to present our employee engagement survey. As we've done over the last 9 years, the district has conducted an employee engagement survey twice a year, and that's really just to kind of reach out to our employees to gauge, to see where are we doing things right, where can we see some improvement, what are some of their needs. For this school year, having not changed the questions in some time, I worked closely with Dr. Lee, Cliff Freeze, and also Superintendent Hatzenbeeler to look at those questions, to maybe revamp them a bit. Because when you ask the same questions year after year, people tend maybe not to answer those questions. So we kind of revisited looking at what questions we've asked in the past, what could we move to ask this year, and really looking at what are we hoping to gain from this survey that we can better support our employees. So this year, we also moved to, there were the general questions of what's your position and what's your location. And then we had 14 questions. 8 of those were on a scale from 1 to 5. And 6 of them were considered long answers. So people could really, truly give a response without just picking a 1 through 5. So we could visit those things and truly hear from how they feel. It made me think of what Carly shared. And you'll see some of the things she talked about. Adults ask those same things. Adults do want to have fun. They want to have agency. So it's kind of a continuum of what they're doing to what we're doing with employees. One thing we did do different this year, we added in a neutral response option. In talking with both Superintendent Hatzenbeeler and also Cliff Freeze, we discussed the reasons for doing that, and there's pros and cons. But by offering that opportunity to folks, our thought was too that it gives them a more accurate response. When you force someone to say you would agree or disagree, and we've probably all done those surveys where we're like, I feel like I'm in the middle. I'm really kind of neutral on this. I'm not feeling one way or the other. So we did add in that neutral response for this option for this school year. Because by doing that, it doesn't choose somebody again, make them choose between agree or disagree. It highlights areas that we might need clarification too. So if someone is answering neutral, maybe how do we get them to the right? How do they get into that I really agree? It kind of tells us where, not just those that may not agree, but if we're just kind of hanging in the middle, I think we have some work to do. Like there are some folks that maybe we can do some improvement on listening to what their needs are. So looking back, as we've done in years past, comparing 25 to 26, as shared with in years past, the information we've learned, anywhere from 30 to 40% response is considered good. Well, this year, with having about 370 employees, the fall was higher. We had 146 employees who engaged. Great responses from elementary, always seem to be up there. Spring was lower. You know, we typically wait till we're back from spring break and ask for those responses. So you can see that was lower. So fall was just that 40%, but the spring we were at 29, so just below that kind of low end for responses. And with this information too, I do break it down and it's shared building specific. So principals do get to see staff responses and the scoring and how people rated their buildings, because by doing so, they can see how things are going in their building, what things maybe they can be addressing, or the needs from their building. For the smaller departments, transportation, district office, some of those smaller ones, since we do get fewer responses, we kind of combine those because we truly want people to know this is anonymous. We don't be able to pick out who made those responses, so we do combine those and provide those out.
Carrie, sorry, I'd love to see next year, tell me how the different employee work groups are broken out by number of employees. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
So, like we're looking at
So you
60%
wanna know
classified and then...
22% of 107 is?
Oh, yes, so
like what does that, so if the classified represented 25.2% of the responses, what percentage do they represent as part of the total work group?
Oh, of the aggregate.
Of the
Yeah,
aggregate,
yeah,
370.
Got it.
I see what you're saying. Okay, yeah.
Just interesting to see who's participating is informative in addition to the numbers.
Well, and what I can tell you on my next slide, if this is for work group, what I can tell you on this one is our certs are much higher. So like for fall this year, out of 370 employees for fall, 146 responded. Of those, 60% were certs and 32.9 were classified. Okay, so I did have, it's not on here, but I happened to make some notes that, so we could see what that total looks like. In the spring, the certs did increase to about 70%, and our classified went down to 25.2. So they did go down a bit in the responses. And I can include that for the next year.
Yeah.
It's not broken down, but so you can have that, absolutely.
Yeah, just curious.
So you can see. Over the years I've looked at, we do seem to get a much higher percentage of response from certificated staff.
Yeah.
That's been.
We do,
yeah. And that's an engagement piece. For me, it's like, you know, why is that? And I don't know how to get to that because I want people to know their voice matters.
Yeah.
Right? It does. So how do we get them to engage with that? And then this one here is breaking down the fall. So this is just taking those 8 questions that we're choosing 1 through 5, and you can see that is, and I have some more slides that break those down individually. But, you know, combined, I was looking at it, those that are rating 4 to 5 agree, strongly agree, 70%, 60%. But the interesting thing is you can see there are quite a few neutrals. So folks that were not forced to say, I agree or disagree. Because if you're in the middle, and someone's like, I can't really say I want to agree, so I'm going to say I disagree. Well, it's not necessarily a really true answer. So, but having that neutral lets people land in the middle that aren't leaning to one side or the other. And then you can see with our the spring, again, we just had fewer responses at 107. And that again is just those breakdown that you can see for all those questions there. I know you've had, I don't know if you have questions, but you've had an opportunity, I believe, to review this, so you can kind of see where folks are landing. And again, the buildings do get a breakdown to see. I do one for each of them pertaining specific to their building, so they can see where staff land in their building with these. And then the next slides are really just breaking down, comparing spring of 2025 to 2026. And it is a little maybe harder to compare because we have that neutral response in there that you can see. But looking at it as I look at spring, of the agree and truly agree, there's about 66%. Then we have our neutrals, but we have those on the other end. So, what are we missing? Where can we improve? So these ones will just really align with the previous slides I shared. One thing with this question here, we did add the word agency, trying to tie that in. So we expanded on last year's question to do add the word in agency, trying to tie it in. Like we do so much with our kids, we hear the word a lot. So with that, our next one is we expanded that question to say, hey, with this question, we were now asking for folks the opportunity to explain that. Talk a little bit about, building on that question, what specific actions, supports, or practices at your work site help you feel ownership in your work. So those are some of the things, and it gives you a high level kind of a breakdown what it is, but then some of the responses people said. So those are the things we need to look at, like professional autonomy, responsive leadership, collaboration, students' needs are being met. So it kind of walks through the breakdown of those responses. And then the next question again was a long one, and you could provide a long answer. What can we improve to strengthen your sense of ownership or influence? And isn't that kind of what we're always asking our kiddos, right? So this just ties to that. How can we make you feel a part of it? What are we missing? What do we need to make you feel like you're going to have ownership and agency? And it can be varied because, bus drivers are going to have a different sense of ownership. Yeah. People in the front office, food service, tied, down to our teachers. Everyone's input matters. So that just kind of, and I wasn't going to necessarily read through each of those because I'm saying maybe you had questions. So again, now these are just going to go into the breakdown of each of those so that you could truly have the breakdown with questions that were similar to the same, maybe changed a bit or did align with that. And you can see as we go through those, that's one of those questions. And then what would make you feel more confidence and capable in your work? Like what can we give you to make that connection, to make it work for you? So that just was another long answer. We wanted opportunity for people to really provide feedback that we can glean from. Another question that just had that 1 through 5 with the neutral answer in there, breaking down. If you feel encouraged to share ideas and collaborate with your colleagues, how can it be improved? So, how are they working together? How can we help support that? Followed by, at my work site, my co-workers and I, how they deal with conflict. Yeah, that's a really important one. And it's a question I work with quite a bit with people. And I really feel like a big part of the role I do is listening to people, understanding what they're sharing. And if they have a concern, it's legitimate to them, I want to hear it. How can I help them get there? And how can I help people come together? Because at the end of the day, folks have to be able to work together, right? Because if they don't, we're here for the kids, right? Our expectation is daily we're showing kids how to work together and get along and play nice in the sandbox, right? So, we have the same expectation for our employees. So how can we better serve them and what can we give them? Whether it's training or understanding or what those type of things that we can help them with. Next question, how do the supervisor feedback important? Are they getting what they need? Is it coming in a manner that's helpful for them? So that was just another question in the survey. At my work site, I feel valued and treated as a person whose contributions matter. This question to me is very important. 'Cause people,
Yeah.
they stay because they feel valued and heard.
Yep.
And when you feel valued and heard and you feel you're making a difference, I think everybody wants to feel they're making a difference in their day at work, right? And at a school, if you work for a school, what better place to make a difference, right? So what people, what they need, what they share, how can we support? So I just find this was where can we improve on this? And I look at those lower numbers, like we're missing the mark on something. And my goal is to figure out a way, how can we get there? Of course, with their input and hearing from them. All staff matter. And communication comes up every year. And you know, it's interesting because it runs a span. It's like, we need more communication. Everybody wants it in different ways, but there were some responses. There's so much communication. I get so many emails. So, you know, what's that balancing act that people can find? Like, can we put it somewhere? Like, I think about our website, like, things are here, we store them here. We want you to know they're there. Maybe you look when it works for you. Those important things we need to make sure you get out and have communication on. So communication has always seemed like to be a balancing act because it works different for people, different people.
The other thing is that we always think of communication as in, are we providing these people the information they need? But it's also, can they communicate to us?
Absolutely.
And so I think that kind of relates to some other things.
Yeah, absolutely, I would agree. People should feel comfortable because if they can't come and talk to us, I mean, what are we missing? You know, I like to think my HR team, I think is pretty amazing and people are welcome. We're here to help. HR shouldn't be thought of as a scary place. We're truly here to help folks. And I see that across the board. Our amazing administrators, they really want to listen, they want to help. Now sometimes we have to come to an agreement. It may not be the answer someone hopes to hear, but at the end of that, they should know that they're being listened to. Mm-hmm. That issue is real to them, and we're not saying it's not, but sometimes it's an answer that doesn't quite work for them. But it's made with a reason and a purpose, right? It's not just taken lightly. That's how I look at that. And then some of these other ones, we didn't ask these specific questions because we had some more long answers in there. Another one, you can see, and I know you've had the opportunity to review this. And then, sorry, I can't see that far, so I print out in front of me. We talked about the communication. And I think this one is just the access to, let's see. I'm sorry, I can't see that far, so I'm trying to see what across right now. Oh yeah, communication we talked about. And this is across the organization. The other one did talk specific from their supervisors. And across the organization, you know, it is a little harder as we grow. We have different departments that share information, right? Sharing it out. Plus they have their building communication. We have so many avenues to communicate to us. We're getting it out there, it's great. But people can feel overloaded and we have to respect that. But ensure they're getting that information they really need, right? So it's really a balancing act. We're trying to make sure we're doing good at that. Just another question that was not asked in this survey. And then this question, strengthen mutual trust. Trust was a big question we talked about when I talked with Superintendent Hatzenbuehler and Cliff Freeze. How can we build mutual trust? And like you were saying, like people should feel comfortable coming and talking to us and being able to share what those concerns are, that open door. So how can we build mutual trust across all levels of the organization? So they not only can go to their supervisor, they can come to district office and feel like they will be heard and they'll be welcomed. So this kind of touches on what are some of those things that we can look at. And then lastly, communication and collaboration, which collaboration is just a big word. Like how do we collaborate? How do we work together? How do we exchange that feedback, information? But what is one thing we can do as a district to strengthen our communication and collaboration? And it ranges from, if there's too much, to meeting it differently. So it's just a balancing act. And it does change each year. So some years maybe we're a little closer, other years maybe not. But one thing we know, we have to continue to communicate. Right? So, and then we just said, is there anything we haven't asked that you'd like us to know, how we can better support you in your work? And that varied, a lot of different responses. And I just want people to know we read this, it matters to us, and we want to see how we can move forward with it. So, and that is my presentation. Do you have any questions?
Just comment board, you'll notice some connections between the ideas around clear and consistent communication, questions around intervention support systems, questions around clarity on who does what. Part of when I talked earlier about the intervention support systems, the behavior, social, emotional, we see clear links with staff frustration in terms of areas and places where systems are working well and areas where they're not. And where they're not, the frustration grows. And so there's a connection between what you see in the survey asks around professional development and support, clarity and consistency. So right now we're running a tri-labor party workforce with principals, classified and certificated, to really look at our intervention and support systems. What is the vision of where we want to be? Where are we at today? And then how do we close that gap? And so part of our fiscal investment will tie directly back to the survey that we're seeing of where things are working great, we want to keep that going. Where they're not, we want to lean into that and really improve. So what I would say is earlier what I was talking about and what she's sharing, there's a direct and clear connection. So that work about how we're going to move forward together is in conjunction with all of our labor parties to help try to figure that out. How do we close the gap? So we definitely think investment in systems, structure, clear communication, and always investing in culture. Always investing in culture. And I would posit to you where we have stronger relational trust with leadership and supervisors, the feedback tends to be more favorable. And where I don't have a stronger relationship, it tends to be not as strong. No brainer, I mean, that's common human relation 101. So part of our transition within and amongst leadership and as we move forward is how do we improve on all of those areas? But we are doing that with labor. So whatever they come up with, what Cliff and I have done, we've set aside a pot so we can invest in whatever those tools and supports and resources are, and then we'll invest in training and professional development to make sure everybody gets on the same page and we move forward collectively.
Actually, that was one of the things I was going to ask about was it would be interesting because you meet in labor relations meetings. It would be interesting to see if you went just to not each member, but to the people that you meet with and say, so how could we do this better? Because they're going to have heard all the issues.
One of the things Jennifer said to that tri-labor party agreement, it's really born out of a conversation with OEA, but we said, we have people missing at the table that have to be at the table. So we brought others. And so we've already put in place that there will be a site-based tri-labor party workforce at each site for next year. Representatives will come back to the larger process that Carrie will work on with labor. So we get that site-based feedback and communication opening up, and that goes back to the broader group to like, all right, how are we doing collectively? We're just not all having the same conversation, and that will open up the doors to hopefully lean into that to a greater degree. And then of course, if they see things change and they know what's going on and we're moving forward, we think there'll be an impact to the data a year from now. At least we hope so.
And it will provide, as Superintendent Hatsby was talking about, a little consistency across, because when buildings are coming together, or groups from buildings, and hearing from one another, everybody starts doing things a little different. But if there can be some consistency and people leaning on one another, how things are doing and what's working for them, that'll also be helpful within this group we're talking about.
So I had one other question, and that was, so the open-ended questions. I mean, I'm really glad to see the responses, but I wondered, is each one of them connected to one that they also then give a 1 through 5 commitment to? The only reason why I'm asking that is so that then you have the data from one year to another to compare, which you don't have with the open-ended questions. I kind of like to see the open-ended questions for some of the ones that you also have the data for.
Not directly. Part of what I discussed with Carrie a little bit, there are surveys that are go into greater depth and do a better job in what you're saying, and it's a little bit more actionable, the trade will be timed and then length, and will we see engagement? So I do think there are probably better tools out there to give greater actionable feedback, because that's one of the challenges we've had, is when 35 people have a different opinion about communication, all right, well, it's hard to really get some clarity around. But I do think we can examine different tools over time and see, does something else help us better actionize the data? But I think, you know, holistically, we're kind of narrowed to the right groups of things. Clear, consistent communication, really improving site-based culture and relational trust, and clear systems that everybody knows what the plan and routine is, and we train and support and develop around that. And we think if we move into those spaces, we're going to really work together to improve where we're at on that front.
I did have one recommendation for getting more people involved. You know how we had to, for the Safe Schools tutorials, how we had to have some time set aside for it. So like, say, a building meeting, you know, okay, we're not actually having a whole hour building meeting, you have part of this time to take the survey. I mean, to give the opportunity, if we're going to value it, I think we should show them in some way.
Support it somehow.
Yeah.
I had a question, and I'm not looking for an answer, but one of the conversations we've had in past years is whether we do this twice a year or once a year. And that was something else I thought of is it necessary to do it twice a year? Or would I want that time invested on addressing the findings? So just something to consider that has come up in the past.
Yeah, good question. If we were to move to more in-depth, certainly, I would be thinking about maybe reduced frequency in favor of greater depth, and then incorporate that into the school improvement planning process around setting goals around that and reflecting.
Yeah, that can help on participation too. People are like, might feel like I just did it.
Part of the, I think twice a year in the onset was really through the recruitment retention. If we're losing people, why?
Right.
We've really headed that off at the pass. Like there is so little turnover. We're retaining very well, recruiting very well. Nita screened over 100 applicants for one teaching position.
Wow, that's amazing.
So I think we've gotten out of the woods on some of those issues, and we've really improved overall relational trust and good, trustful working relationships with our labor partners. So that could be something we definitely take a look at.
The other thing about doing it twice within the year instead of, you're comparing the same group that way as opposed to if you're doing it just each fall, then you're comparing one group to a different group, you know, because the population, like say, oh yes, it's going to be a whole different situation. So I can see the benefit of both of them.
Yep.
Yeah.
I wanted to just quickly say I appreciated you verbally announcing that some of these questions are geared to the same things we're doing with our students. And I think that system-wide, if you have your staff members that are all in on what we're trying to give the students with that agency and that same kind of feeling, that they should feel the same from, above them as well. So I really like that was actually thoughtfully inserted into the survey.
Thank you. I thought of that. I didn't write it down, so thank you.
Well, I think it shows too, I think it shows staff that we care about kids, that's why we're here, right? We're here for kids, but we care about you too.
Yeah.
Right? And so your feedback is just as important to us as the students' feedback. So,
Well, when our staff feel cared, just like our kids, when they feel cared for, we want them here. It's a great place for them. I mean, they want to come. They're going to bring others, and they need to feel that, because then they'll exude that to their students, would be my thought on it. So.
I would also personally say that we all know that in the spring, things are a little difficult and people's tempers are a little shorter, versus the fall when it's all new and everybody's getting used to each other still. So even though the answers might not be as favorable in the spring. I think it's a good time to do that, especially for some of the harder questions.
Yeah, and it could be, you did it once, it could be just a little later, so sometime in the year. Then you run the survey, and then it gives administrators time to review that and act on it, have conversations about it for the remainder of the school year.
Yeah.
There's some options there.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yes. Cool.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Carrie. Thank you, Carrie. Kathy, you had asked me about employee survey. Does this satisfy what you were hoping to know?
My other questions, I already talked to Ed about, so yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. Next up, we have second reading of a handful of policies. I saw no further discussion, but I want to check. Check.
Good.
All right. So I will take a motion to approve the second read policies.
I will move to approve the second reading of policy considerations.
Second.
Second?
Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Motion passes. All right, next up is consent agenda.
Move to approve items 1 through 7 on the consent agenda.
Second?
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you to Bates. Agreement. All right, we have a handful of action items. Just be over here scrolling. First up is academic calendar. Presented by Carrie.
Hello
Hey, long time no see.
Yes.
Sure miss Karn. This is the first time we haven't had Karn.
It is, and she had
present.
a planned time off, she's like, Carrie said, I got you, you're good. So, Karen did engage again this year, because we do, when we come together, and I did lean on Karen, this is my first year working on this, but Holly Mortensen, who had worked on this before, left some great notes, and so did Debbie. So it was myself, Heather Hintz, Karen did join in again, and Aaron Sluka from the PSC side, so which was represented at our meetings. Oh,
We're
we're
having some technical
Okay, that's
difficulties,
okay.
and so
We can-
I'm not seeing any other slides populate here, so.
I will say during my homework, I took a look at this and I couldn't believe how similar they were. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
And obviously a clear favor.
Carrie, is there any way you could,
Refresh maybe? You might just continue. Do you have?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you all have it on board docs.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, so I can just walk through it.
We
So,
don't have an audience, so.
Typically each year, we go out and look at, actually Karen went out to see other districts. There's only one other district that's actually working on the 27-28, and that was Sumner Bonnie Lake School District, that had any data. Theirs was similar to ours, but they are actually starting school on August 31st that year.
Oh, wow.
It's a little different. They have some different built-in days. So, but at that, the calendar committee met a few times to come together with the information. We did send out the initial survey. One went to staff, and then one went to the community with the same questions. And after having those results, we work with OEA, because interesting in the OEA CBA, it does call for 3 calendars. The last few years, we've done an MOU with them because the results aren't such that we could even come up with 3. So we may look and say maybe a minimum of 2 or something. So,
So having been the person that actually negotiated that, and Karen was the very first person who got involved with it, it's because that way there were some options, and the teachers had, and certified and classified had some input, and which was really welcome, because before that we didn't have it. So
yeah, it's good history. And, you know, people, they do want to have input, just, you know, as our community does, and we share it out with them. So,
Carrie, you're back.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, we're just on number 2 here. So, as I mentioned, the survey data was used to create 2 calendars because as you'll see from the responses, so responses for the community, 93. I asked someone to run a report for me of how many families we have in like family 1. So of 93 responses, that's a little over only 5%, just to have you gauge the percentage of each. So for community, 93 responses, I was thrilled to see 93, but it's about 5% of staff responses, it's about 44% around there of our staff. So you can see in...
Typical survey response rates are 1.5%, 2%, maybe 2.5% on a great day. So to have 5 is fantastic. I just don't want to skip over that. That's like actually great.
So it was, I think it was 5.3 actually, so better. So you can see on the responses on those first questions, it lined up. Like the community and the staff agreed on the first day. Spring break, again, hands down, same day. Then we got to our snow makeup day. That was a little different. So that one, you could see, was a swing, a little different by our staff.
They need that day in March.
I'm just thinking, because I always hear, March is a long month.
Yes, it's a long month.
March is a long month.
And I think, and when we asked, the time we're asking the survey, it's pretty much still like within their rearview mirror, so I'm sure it could weigh in. But, so when we did the final 2 calendars, both calendars reflected all the legal holidays, same first day of school, all those breaks and everything, so we list down there, professional development day, spring break, and the second snow makeup day. Then on the staff voting on the second time, we had 167 responses. You can see which way they decided to go. They did want to move to that March option. You know, it's not a real big spread, but it is. It's there. You can see which one staff weighed in on, and it could be solely, like you mentioned, maybe just they're needing that extra day in March of a little break. So
option A is connected to President's Day.
Yes, it
which
is.
makes basically one long weekend, and then they don't get a break in March. So
it does.
I can see why March 10th is better.
I can understand maybe families are accustomed to that. Maybe it's a time that they're able to take a vacation. But, you know, our staff work hard, and they're going to kind of see, you know, try and line up what might work well for them so they can come back refreshed, engaged, because they're feeling good. Our kids are going to feel it. So respectfully, based on the outcome of our staff, we were requesting to your vote for the option B count.
Thank you. Okay.
I think it's good for our students to have a break in March too.
Yeah, it's a long month
for them too.
Oh, boy.
No questions?
No questions. Okay. And thank you for the presentation, Carrie. Board, you have the option of making a motion for A or B. So I will take a motion if there's no further discussion.
I move to approve calendar option B for the 2027-2028 academic calendar year as presented.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. We have a new CTE conditional certificate.
I move to approve the request for issuance of new CTE conditional certificates by OSPI for the 2026-27 school year.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. And then the renewal of CTE conditional certificates.
I move to approve the request for issuance of CTE conditional certificate renewals by OSPI for the 26-27 school year.
I second it.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. And then we have an out of endorsement waiver.
I move to authorize educator Gavin Anderson to be able to teach in the area of special education through a board-approved out-of-endorsement assignment waiver effective March 31st, 2026.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. And a second out of endorsement waiver.
I move to authorize educator Lane Williams to be able to teach in the area of choral music through a board-approved out-of-endorsement assignment waiver effective May 11th, 2026.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. And alternative learning experience program.
I move to approve the alternative learning experience program.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. We've all lost steam. And my favorite, surplus request. This was a good one.
It's a fun one.
Was.
Can I get a motion?
I move.
I finally
You
got to
finally
the
got
bottom of it. I figured it out. I move to accept the surplus request as presented.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
I've only been
Motion
able to see
passes.
the No.
All right, scrolling back.
Okay.
Oh, for crying out loud. Board self-assessment questions, board comments and discussion. Self-assessment questions for review. Board, the questions for our self-assessment are presented here. This is, everybody but Lovey, we've taken this now multiple times. I would just encourage you to take a look at the questions and often we are aligned, but also it's really good to think through the questions. And if you have a question about what the question is referring to, don't hesitate to ask. That's where we've gotten tripped up on survey responses in the past. We go look at the responses and we might not have alignment, and it's because we've interpreted the question differently.
Okay.
So I invite you to take a look at those and feel free to ask.
Okay.
And then, board, this is a new timeline compared to what we've done in years past. So the plan is that Bonnie will send the link on the 22nd, and I believe we have 2 weeks. Oh, it says 2 weeks to complete it. So set yourself some time, well, like 15 minutes, board? Is that about how long it takes, 15, 20 minutes? Roughly?
Depends on if you're interrupted.
Right. And then we'll review the results at our July meeting.
Okay.
Okay? All right. And then, are there any additional board comments?
Okay, Bonnie, could you verify the date of the senior award night at the high school, please? I think Dallas said the
29th.
29th, and I have the 3rd on my calendar.
It is the 3rd.
It's the 3rd?
Yeah. I
Okay.
have 2 things in my calendar just labeled award.
Well, quit getting so many.
Right? Yeah.
So it's the 3rd?
Okay.
And I have 6 to 8 p.m. on my calendar. so-
Is it in the pack?
Yeah.
Yes.
Perfect.
That is what is on your calendars, that is correct, right? Did you find it someplace else? Is that what you were asking?
No, I think Dallas just mentioned he thought it was on the 29th.
Oh,
I just
okay.
wanted to verify it was,
Okay.
what date that actually was.
To get
I think he wants it on the 29th.
Yeah. It's like,
No,
let's
it's
wrap
on-
this puppy
it's
up,
on
we're
your-
done.
Like, let me out of school.
And I appreciate that you asked, because I wrote down what Dallas said, and I hadn't looked at the calendar,
Well,
so.
I kind of went, wait a minute.
Oh, my goodness. all set, then I will adjourn tonight's meeting at 7:45.